2006, Grand Island was raided as part of an orchestrated attempt to detain what they called illegal immigrants at the time. We were one of 4 cities. We found out about it at 7:30 in the morning, and literally a phone call from the police chief, great friend of mine. He said, I can't give you the specifics, but something really, really big is going down. It's going to tear the guts out of the community. And I knew immediately what it was. They had detained about 1,200 workers at the meatpacking plant. And of those 1,200 workers, we anticipated that was probably more than 2,000 of our kids that were related to them. So we had short period of time, because most of those children are on their way to school already, having kissed their parents goodbye the night before or that morning. I'm on my way to work. Fortunately, I was stopped at one of those ill-forsaken railroad crossings where I had a chance to think about how are we going to respond to this. The community of Grand Island didn't really have a response because this was a militaristic action, and immediately it was on the national news that the administration and the government was taking a stand and doing something about these people who were coming here illegally, and we had to pick up the pieces with children. We had to touch all of these children, but there were 1 million human interest stories that were created as a result of this catastrophic event. But one of them that I tell all the time was my next door neighbor, who was white and a successful business person, born and raised in Grand Island. We mowed our yards together in the summer just so that we could argue when we were done. And he was always arguing about the cost of education, very conservative. The cost of education is property taxes were going up. And, why are we spending all this money and resources on kids that, one, shouldn't be here, and two, probably aren't going to make it anyway. And it was good-natured argument. And he was a gentleman that I have great respect for. On the day of the raid, at 10 o'clock in the morning, after we've had a couple of press conferences, and we said, please send your kids back to school, because so many of the families in Grand Island shut their blinds and locked their doors and went into the basement. I mean, those are stories that people were telling. But at 10 o'clock in the morning, after we said, get your kids back to school, I promise we won't let immigration come get them. My friend showed up, and he handed me a hefty check. And I looked at him and I go, what's this? You got to be kidding me. He said, because I'm a daddy too. This is about families. I can cry right now. I cried then, he cried too. He handed me the check. The money that poured in to help support the children in Grand Island on that day and in subsequent days was absolutely the most beautiful time that I've ever experienced.